I can sometimes sense people's emotions, and sometimes I know stuff about them, and it's usually not good. I don't consider myself a psychic. No way. In fact, I've come to view that as a dirty word. But being mugged by a couple of teenage thugs changed me, slammed my brains into my thick skull, mushed them up a bit, and now I'm not the same as I was before. Not the same at all. It was all still pretty new to me, and I wasn't sure I always trusted the feelings, insights, that came to me. I mean, I did, and I didn't want to. But that day I had an extra $10 bill in my wallet, and I decided, why not test it? If the person advertising such a trait was for real, I might find a kindred spirit. If not, okay, when you're broke, $10 is a lot of money, but I had a roof over my head, a part-time job, and, thanks to the generosity of my older half-brother, I was nowhere near starving. Maybe it was the neon that seduced me on that hot August afternoon when I found myself pulling into the gravel drive. The sign on the lawn said, "For entertainment only," but I was pretty sure the gullible would expect something more than that. And why was I so intrigued anyway? My friend Sophie Levin was like me. The old Polish lady didn't like the word psychic either. She read auras, or as she put it, she saw colors and then knew things. I looked through the car's passenger side window at what once might have been a lovely home. Hard times had fallen on the old 2-story house. Was it supposed to be a poor man's terra? The Corinthian columns that held up the porch roof were rotted at the base. Flaked paint chips the size of oatmeal cookies hung from the weathered clapboards. A rusty Buick LeSabre with current plates sat parked at the side of the house. Apparently, psychic for hire was not a particularly lucrative proposition. I got out of my car, my footsteps crunching on the gravel as I made my way to the porch steps. They creaked under my feet. Were they rotted enough to collapse, or should I trust them to hold my weight? They held. The porch floorboards groaned under me as I shifted my weight and raised my hand to knock on the old screen door. A woman's voice called out, "I've been waiting for you. What took you so long?" The words were disconcerting. I'd only decided to drop in on a whim. Or maybe that was part of her shtick. I opened the wooden screen door and stepped inside. The interior didn't look much better than the exterior, but at least it was neat and tidy. A broad staircase wound up to the second floor. Only a few of its balusters were missing. The entry's floor was in desperate need of sanding and refinishing, and some of the old oak was warped, and a large portion of it was discolored from water. A glance at the stained ceiling told me where the problem had originated. Probably from a bathroom. "In here?" the female voice called again. I crossed the entryway to a side parlor and shuddered. Something in that room was not right. From her position behind a small square table, the woman could see straight through the window should any customers pull up the drive and approach the steps. The room had little charm. The cracked and chipped brick hearth was in as sad a shape as the mantel, which had once been painted white. Instead of a fire, 7 or 8 white vanilla-scented pillar candles of different heights glowed in the old fireplace and appeared to be the only source of heat or light in the gloomy room. 2 sheet-covered side chairs flanked the mantel, but instead of shabby chic, they just looked shabby, as did the faded wallpaper which, like the ceiling in the entryway, had its share of water stains around the windows. A tall, newish cabinet held up the wall behind me. No doubt a TV was stashed behind the closed doors. I'd bet the days were long and the customers few and far between, and soap operas and game shows helped to pass the hours. "Please, sit," she invited, and waved a hand at the worn upholstered chair before her. I did as asked, and, apart from feeling foolish, a growing disquiet seemed to radiate through me. I tried to shake it off and concentrated on the woman before me. Talk about adopting a stereotype. The table was covered in a couple of layers of jewel-toned tablecloths and what looked like a lacy white shawl draped on top. A massive crystal ball sat in the middle of the table, and in front of the woman was a neatly stacked deck of worn tarot cards. I looked up into the woman's piercing blue eyes. She must have been in her early 50s, overweight, with a lined face and jet-black, shoulder-length, wavy hair held back from her left